Hair covering. Hair covering is one of the most beautiful mitzvot that a Jewish woman has in the Torah. It's an often misunderstood mitzvah, and it's a very intricate type of topic because many people don't know how to cover their hair, or don't know if they should cover their hair, or what's the real reasons behind it. Is it really that important? But it is important, and there's many reasons to to illustrate that point regarding using sources from the Torah. But in this video, we're going to focus on 8 reasons why hair covering is the crown of the Jewish woman, giving spiritual and physical benefits. I remember when I first started covering my hair, I watched a lot of inspirational videos, and all of a sudden I said to myself, I just want to cover my hair. I told myself, I can't even leave the house without covering my hair. And I was growing in observant Judaism. And I just, knowing the reasons why we cover our hair just propelled me. I just can't go with my hair uncovered anymore. So I decided to do it. And the reasons that we do things can definitely motivate us to change and to do it. So I remember actually leaving the house and going to a grocery store. I just put on some kind of hat to quickly just cover my hair. And I saw a friend. She said to me, "Oh, you covering your hair?" I said, "Yes." And she thought I was joking because it was such a weird thing for me to do, something so different. But as I said earlier, when we know the reasons why we do things, it can really enhance our life, enrich our life, and have a more fulfilling life. Now, a lot of the mitzvot, commandments in the Torah, we do because there's a certain level that we understand why we do it, and then we just do it because Hashem is above us. As we've mentioned in many of our classes, Hashem is above us. We understand the world to a certain point, and Hashem knows it all. So we can only understand things to a certain point. So this mitzvah of hair covering is understood by us on a certain level, and the rest is really acceptance. So I'm excited to share with you 8 reasons why hair covering is the crown of the Jewish woman. Abat Yisrael, the daughter of Israel, her essence is to be modest. The Jewish woman's whole role is to be modest. Now, that doesn't mean stick you under the garbage bag and pretend like you don't exist. That's not modesty. Modesty is to do things in a way where it's not showy. In a gist, it's not showy. It's modest. The way she walks, the way she talks, the way she dresses, the way she looks. And that's a mitzvah to master over a lifetime. It's not whether you have it or don't. It's enhancing our modesty. So as a daughter of Israel, our essence, the Jewish woman, is to be modest. Many brachot, many blessings are only channeled to the Jewish woman only through her modesty. And some benefits are the following. So these are 8 benefits of covering our hair. Benefit number 1. Number 1, hair covering shows a woman's submission to Hashem's will. Her hair covering shows, I will do what Hashem says. I'm being submissive. I know my role. I know that I have a Hashem. I have Hashem. I have God. I have a subservient power above me. So this is showing my submission. A woman has a desire to be attractive, a natural desire to be attractive. However, it must be challenged through modesty. And through modesty, she knows she's attractive for her husband. And there's a level of modesty that is shown by her covering her hair and showing that there's God who has told me to cover my hair. Now I'm a Jewish woman. I'm not a Jewish girl. I'm a Jewish woman, and that's the symbol. Number 2, she demonstrates the purity of Jewish family life. So the head covering represents sanctity. It represents Kedusha, or holiness. It represents these beautiful ways of family life. The wife dedicates her life to her husband, and she shows that I'm not in contact with any other man. And that modesty actually brings so much sanctity to the Jewish home just by her internalizing that she is only for her home and her family, and it invites a lot of sanctity into the house, into the family Jewish way of life. Number 3, it is a source of Yirat Shamayim. So we know that Yirat Shamayim means fear of heaven. And men, Jewish men, cover their part of their head with a yarmulke, with a headpiece, with a kippah. And it says in the Torah, it says that the men cover part of the head. Cover your head so that you shall experience the fear of heaven. So you're experiencing Yirat Shamayim. You are feeling Yirat Shamayim. You're feeling a fear of Hashem. You know that there's something above you. So it's a reminder for men. So hey, men naturally have a higher sense of ego. Sometimes they may feel mistakenly, they forget that they're successful because of their efforts. It's not true. There's someone above them. There's a being above them that's actually there for them to turn to. It's not for them to raise their head up high, and some people say nose up in the air because they're so proud or haughty. No, there's a being above you, and the head covering actually reminds them of that. So that's sanctity to the man. He's covering part of his head. How much more sanctity is there, obviously, when a woman covers her head? So basically her whole head. So that really enhances the Yirat Shamayim, fear of heaven for us. So much more so. Number 4, it is a source of Kedusha, holiness, and inspiration. Chazal say, our sages say, that the head is king over all the limbs. So your head is the master. It depends on how the head is functioning, on how the rest of the body will function, in other words. By doing a mitzvah continuously with the head, the Kedusha, the holiness, must be immeasurable. It gives spirituality and inspiration. In other words, by covering our hair continuously, the holiness only increases and grows and grows and grows. Number 5. Now this is more of a physical benefit. It protects from illness and pain. So there's some kind of a benefit where a woman's head covering brings about healing and removes illnesses and removes pain. As it says, while a mitzvah is being carried out, it shields and safeguards the person. So the woman's head covering is actually also a source of protection. Number 6. It procures or creates great dividends. It's a multiplication of the mitzvah. The woman fulfills this mitzvah minute by minute throughout the day. In this way, she earns dividends in this world and in the world to come. It's not only in this world. The rewards are immeasurable. Hagaon Rav Shimon Schwab of Zatzal once said that women are not obligated in the mitzvah of tefillin because women do so by wearing a head covering all day long. So just like to a man, his tefillin, his fringes, that the strings that we see that they wear on a daily basis, all day, every day, reminds them to do the mitzvot. One of the reasons why they wear it reminds them to stay focused on mitzvot and Hashem all day long. And just like a woman covers her head all day long, it reminds her that there's a higher being, that she is an Eved Hashem, a servant of Hashem. Head covering should display the inner refinement and sensitivities of a Bat Yisrael. A woman covers her hair because she's focusing on being inward, on developing her inner qualities, her inner self. We're not so much focused on being, the star of the show, being, being on the billboards or being sparkly and flashy. We're not there to grab that kind of attention. We're here to grab the attention of doing the right thing, of doing good, of enhancing our character traits, of helping others. So that is the goal of the head covering that it actually reminds us of what's most important. Therefore, it should represent the royal status of the Jewish woman. She is royalty. So, number 7 is it shows who's a married woman or who's not a married woman. So, women, Jewish women, cover their hair, and it's the status of a Jewish girl. She doesn't cover her hair. So, that's a big reminder of that. Married women this is a reminder for us with our modesty, with our head covering, that we are to look attractive, but not to look attracting by being modest. And therefore, she should dress pleasantly, reflecting her nobility, her royalty, and her simcha. Number 8, by covering her hair, she sends a message that she's not available to socialize with everyone with the world. She's not. If you're working in public with other people, of course, men. She knows her place. She knows she's being professional. There's no such thing as being flirty. She knows her place. She is the royal Jewish woman. In times of Chazal, a mourner would unwrap his head. He would accept condolences that he was not in the mood to engage in lighthearted conversation. So this would remind other people, hey, he wrapped his head. That means he's not in the mood. So this is our message to the world, that I am a modest woman. I'm a Jewish woman. I'm married. I'm also royalty. I am behaving in a way, and my head covering is reminding me to behave that way, that I just can't intermingle and interact in the way that I just feel like I need to know my role. A woman is sending the message that she's a married woman. So this is what we want to use the head covering for. To remind ourselves of these beautiful, beautiful principles and ideas. There's so many other principles out there, but these are 8 that I wanted to share with you. It was funny because I wore a certain head covering at work, and I work in a school, a public school currently, and I had one, she's a non-Jewish woman. She came up to me and she said, "Oh, your head, what are you, royalty? Your head," my head covering looked very royal. And I was some kind of a hat, a beret I was wearing, and she said, "You look very royal." And it was funny how she said that, because I try my best to look that way, to look like I am a bat melech, and a Jewish woman, a bat Israel, and you Jewish ladies that's our message to the world. No matter who we interact with, remember, your head covering is your crown. And I want to appreciate the insights of Rabbi Pesach Eliyahu Falk. He talked about the halachos and attitudes concerning tznius of dress and conduct. I want to really appreciate those insights. Leah Abramov, Being and Becoming, awakening awareness of your greatness and potential.